In the chilling depths of criminal minds, there exists a darkness that few can comprehend. This darkness engulfed a group of teenagers, transforming them into cold-blooded killers capable of unimaginable atrocities. In this harrowing video, we delve into the terrifying stories of these young individuals who committed heinous acts, leaving a trail of death and despair in their wake. Welcome to a world where innocence and brutality collide, where teenage faces hide sinister intentions. These young killers, appearing ordinary on the surface, concealed a darkness that shattered lives and scarred communities forever. Today, we uncover their shocking crimes, exploring the motives, methods, and the aftermath of their actions. 1. James Fairweather, a monster in teens' clothing. At the tender age of 15, James Fairweather embarked on a terrifying killing spree that would shake the community of Colchester, England. His first victim, 33-year-old James Atfield, was brutally attacked while he was sleeping in a park. Fairweather's modus operandi was gruesome. He used a knife, inflicting multiple stab wounds on his unsuspecting victims. His second victim, 31-year-old Nahid Al-Mania, a Saudi Arabian student, fell prey to his brutality only a few weeks later. What made Fairweather's crimes even more chilling was his complete lack of remorse. During his trial, he calmly described the murders in a detached, clinical manner. It was as if he viewed his heinous acts as mere tasks that needed completion. Fairweather claimed that he was driven by malevolent voices in his head that compelled him to commit these acts. His age, just 15 at the time of the murders, did little to mitigate the horror of his crimes. It left the community in shock and terror, forcing them to grapple with the idea that a monster in the guise of a teenager had been living amongst them. 2. Nehemiah Griego, a familial nightmare unleashed. Nehemiah Griego, at the age of 15, committed an unimaginable act of violence by taking the lives of his own family members. His victims included his mother, father, and 3 younger siblings. What made this crime even more horrifying was the apparent lack of motive. Griego seemed to act without reason, using firearms to kill his family members as they slept in their home. Griego's demeanor during his confession and trial was chillingly calm. His apparent detachment from the reality of his actions raised profound questions about the depths of his psychosis. Despite the fact that he tearfully apologized during his trial, the court deemed him unamenable to treatment, rendering a life sentence with the possibility of parole only after 30 years. His case serves as a haunting reminder of the consequences of untreated mental illness among young individuals. The sense of bewilderment and shock experienced by the community was profound. How could a seemingly ordinary teenager commit such a heinous act against his own family? Griego's case left a lasting impact on the local community and the broader conversation surrounding youth and violence. 3. Dexter Johnson, a night of unspeakable horror. Dexter Johnson, along with his friends, orchestrated a shocking crime spree that sent shockwaves through the community. Their victims were innocent individuals who crossed their path on a fateful night. One of the most horrifying incidents involved the carjacking, assault, and brutal execution of Maria Aparice and her boyfriend. The manner in which these crimes were carried out was not only violent, but also terrifyingly random. Johnson's lack of remorse was palpable throughout the legal proceedings. He showed no empathy for the suffering he had inflicted on his victims. In fact, during the trial, he attempted to attack the victim's family, revealing a level of callousness that defied comprehension. His behavior was so disturbing that he received the death penalty, although it was temporarily halted due to concerns about his intellectual disability. The sense of fear and outrage in the community was profound, as they came to terms with the horrifying acts perpetrated by Johnson and his associates. The case highlighted the profound consequences of senseless violence and the challenges the justice system faces when dealing with such violent youth offenders. 4. Nicholas Lindsay, the brazen attack on law enforcement. Nicholas Lindsay's crime was a shocking act of violence against a law enforcement officer. At the age of 16, he shot a police officer multiple times, leaving the officer critically wounded. Tragically, the officer, a 25-year veteran, succumbed to his injuries a month later. Lindsay's nonchalant attitude during his legal proceedings and his apparent lack of remorse demonstrated a disturbing absence of empathy. His defense argued for a reduced sentence, citing his young age, but Lindsay's violent behavior and lack of progress in rehabilitation efforts led to a life sentence in prison. The case sent shockwaves through the community, highlighting the dangers faced by law enforcement officers in the line of duty. The courtroom atmosphere was charged with grief and anger as the jury recommended a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Lindsay, once confident in his actions, was visibly shaken by the gravity of his crime. He realized that his impulsive act had permanently altered the lives of many, including his own. Lindsay's case served as a stark reminder of the risks and challenges law enforcement officers encounter daily, as well as the harsh consequences faced by those who commit acts of violence against them. 5. Antonio Barbeau, a gruesome matricide. Antonio Barbeau was just 14 years old when he, along with a friend of the same age, committed a brutal matricide. Their victim was Barbeau's great-grandmother, an 78-year-old woman. The elderly woman fell prey to a horrific attack with a hatchet and a hammer in her own home. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the community, making people question how someone so young could commit such a gruesome act. Barbeau's court proceedings were marked by an eerie lack of remorse. During his trial, he appeared emotionally detached from the gravity of his actions. Although he tearfully apologized, the court was unmoved. He received a life sentence with the possibility of parole only after 36 years. The case was not only tragic but also raised concerns about the role of rehabilitation and the challenges in dealing with young offenders who commit the most heinous of crimes. The shocking nature of the crime left the community grappling with the idea that such brutality could emerge from someone so young. 6. Kyle Williams, the tragic loss of a dedicated officer. The senseless killing of a police officer by 18-year-old Kyle Williams sent shockwaves through the community. Arnulfo Crispin, a 25-year-old police officer, fell victim to Williams' violent outburst. The courtroom's atmosphere was charged with grief and anger as the jury recommended a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Williams, once confident in his actions, was visibly shaken by the weight of his crime, realizing that his impulsive act had permanently altered the lives of many, including his own. 7. T.J. Lane, a school shooting that shattered lives. The haunting image of a teenager, T.J. Lane, entering a courtroom with the word "killer" emblazoned on his shirt serves as a stark reminder of one of the most tragic school shootings in recent history. Lane's cold-blooded attack in a high school cafeteria left several students injured and 3 dead. His courtroom behavior, marked by a complete lack of remorse and defiant gestures, painted a chilling picture of his mindset. Despite his age, Lane was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, serving as a testament to the gravity of his crimes. 8. Jennifer Mee, from media. Fame to a life behind bars. Jennifer Mee's journey from media sensation to a convicted murderer showcases the complexities of a troubled life. Once in the spotlight due to her uncontrollable hiccups, Mee's life took a dark turn as she became involved in a deadly robbery scheme. Her attempt to lure unsuspecting victims online culminated in the tragic death of 22-year-old Shannon Griffin. Mee's fall from fame to infamy underscored the unpredictability of human nature as she was sentenced to life in prison without parole for her role in the heinous crime. 9. Aiden Fucci, a terrifying glimpse into pure malevolence. The chilling case of Aiden Fuchi, a 14-year-old murderer, sent shockwaves through the nation. Fuchi's calculated luring of his 13-year-old classmate, Tristan Bailey, to the woods and subsequent brutal murder displayed a level of evil that defied his age. Fuchi's lack of remorse and complete absence of empathy during the trial painted a picture of a young psychopath, driven by an internal desire to inflict pain and suffering. The judge, recognizing the depth of his malevolence, sentenced him to life in prison, ensuring society would be protected from this dangerous individual. 10. David Moses, the unforgivable murder of an elderly woman. In a crime that shook the community to its core, 17-year-old David Moses brutally murdered an 81-year-old woman, Dorothy Session, in her own home. His utter lack of remorse and the unprovoked nature of his attack left the courtroom in shock. Despite his age, Moses displayed a level of violence and detachment from humanity that warranted a life sentence without the possibility of parole. His emotionless demeanor during the trial painted a disturbing portrait of a young man capable of unimaginable cruelty. These cases remind us that evil has no age limit. Youthful perpetrators have shocked communities, leaving deep scars. Society must tackle tough issues in juvenile justice and mental health, emphasizing early intervention. Support systems and policies must address these complexities. Compassion, empathy, and understanding are key. By fostering these values and addressing root causes, communities can prevent future tragedies and ensure a safer future for everyone. If you found this information valuable, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more insightful content on pressing societal issues. Your support allows us to continue raising awareness about these critical topics. Thank you for watching and being a part of our community.